Hello and good morning. Oh, I I mentioned earlier in the week when I did the other video that I need to do 2 videos this week. Um, I was gonna do it yesterday, and I probably could have. I was in the middle of recording some other videos, but then I decided to pick up some oat milk this weekend to make lattes, and that I would just do a video with a latte. I also roasted a bunch of coffee, and I thought, oh, I could also do a video talking about that roast. But no, it's going to be a video about me talking about doing videos. So exciting. Actually, I just need to squeeze this in this morning. So it's going to kind of be uh, a me getting ready to go record podcast video. Perhaps that's, pardon me, perhaps that's what it will be. I can tell you, the barista touch is back to its former glory, making some really good coffee. It's quite tasty. Mm. I I isolated the main problem that I had. I guess I can just talk about it here. I was thinking about making its own video, and I might still do that. So there were a few people who commented about temperature problems in the barista touch video. Um, it's actually really hard to track with an espresso machine. Really hard to figure out what the problem is, if there is a problem, that kind of thing. What I was able to track is, first, I was noticing that the shots were a bit deader than they used to be. Um, I started checking this more proactively by putting in coffee. I was very familiar with. I had been putting coffee through like different coffees, new coffees, that kind of thing, trying things out. Went back to a coffee. I was certain I knew how it should taste, and just could not get the brighter notes out of it, which made me think, oh, I have a temperature problem too. And I was also tracking quite a low output temperature, or rather, in terms of like the temperature of the espresso in the cup, like consistently. Um, it's not necessary for that to be super high. There are two things going on. First, of course, is what is the taste of the coffee in your cup? Is it being extracted properly? And then secondary to that is the temperature when it ends up in your cup, um, which there are so many variables involved in that, not the least of which is the actual temperature of the cup before you put the coffee in there, and the general environment you're in, preheating, all that kind of thing. Anyhow, after doing a bunch of due diligence, I did come to the conclusion that there was an issue that I was experiencing. And I figured out through comments of people on the video, eventually did figure out that, well, ultimately, the problem I was having was a matter of electrical power. So when I first got the espresso machine, I was in a different apartment. I moved to this place, and it worked fine here at the beginning. And then at some point, I realized it stopped working, and I had a hard time tracking what it was. Um, I had the Barista Touch and Breville. What is their brewer called? Whether it's the Breville brewer, I can't remember the name of it at the moment. Plugged into the exact same outlet. Um, and it never occurred to me that that could cause an issue. Someone suggested that power could be an issue. So I unplugged the Breville brewer. Well, I brewed on the Barista Touch, checked my numbers, unplugged the Breville brewer, and immediately tracked a 15-degree increase in the temperature of the espresso in the cup. And this is accounting for preheating and all that kind of thing. I plugged the brewer back in, and the temperature dropped again. Not by 15 degrees, but it fluctuated up and down. I was a little skeptical at first. I noticed a change, but kind of hard to confirm. But I've been brewing on it a bunch since then, and the Barista Touch has consistently been pulling properly extracted shots, making really good cups of coffee. Yeah, this morning I did, well, it's almost gone now. Maybe I'll go make another one. Nope, you can't see it anymore. But maybe we can. Okay, there. That's the last bit. I got some oat milk yesterday. Normally, I just get whole milk because there's nothing that steams quite like real milk fat. But oat milk makes a tasty drink. Steams really well, as does almond milk. Those are really good two dairy alternative options. And lately, I haven't been feeling the dairy so much, so I didn't really want to get a entire thing of dairy milk. And the grocery store had oat milk, so oat milk it is. I've got to do a bit more with my morning. I think this video will end up being a little bit of I'm doing stuff in my morning, getting ready to go do a podcast, and then maybe I'll end it with a podcast. So we'll see how it goes. All right, so a little bit later in the morning now, and I decided for the sake of getting this video done and up on the channel today, I would not just record throughout the day, record podcast stuff, because then I might never get this video uploaded, and I definitely want to make sure that gets done today. So what I decided to do is I'm just going to give you a little preview on at least one of the episodes we're recording. So I got a new product from Espro. They have designed some coffee tasting cups, and this is like in the style of, well, if you follow the podcast, Jesse and I did a show on Tim Wendelboe's cups when Tim Wendelboe was in the La Marzocco Cafe in Seattle 2 years ago. And they had cups especially designed for the taste of coffee. So the exact cup design would highlight different aspects, and the idea would be that a different cup design would be for different kinds of coffee to like accentuate those flavors. And you might think that sounds like nonsense, and we talk about it on the show. I'll link to it. Hopefully I can find that episode. I'll link to it below in the video. We discover that it's really not nonsense, and you can take one coffee, you try it in the different cups, and it'll taste like a different coffee in those cups. It's kind of a wild experience. So Espro made their own coffee tasting cup set. We're going to try it on the podcast, and I'm just going to show you that right now, I guess. Do a little quick unboxing. We'll see how this goes on the video here. All right, let's have a look. Pardon the harsh light. It's a bright sunny day today, so there you go. I'm not going to open this up right now, but there's a nice little tray there. Just going to set this aside. And also not going to take all these out, but let's see if we can. Okay, so here's one. Actually, maybe I can. Oh man, there's a guide for exactly what these are about. All right, I'm not going to fiddle around with it, but so this is designed in a very specific shape. So there's one. That guy doesn't want to come out. Okay, come on out. Alright. Try to do this in a way that I can just put this back together because I gotta run to the podcast soon. Okay. And there's a second one. Quite different, as you can see. The third one down here, and there's the fourth one. So again, this I would be skeptical of this had I not experienced it myself with other products. Well, like I said, same one with those cups. So we're looking forward to trying this out and seeing what we see. All right. Hopefully that wasn't too jarring with the handheld phone. I've got to figure out a different solution to stabilize the phone when I'm using it like this. I actually have a video camera stabilizer for walking around with a video camera, but it's kind of overkill for a phone. So I'll have to look around for decent solutions. Honestly, it might end up being using that with a phone mount, just because that might be the cheapest answer since I have it. Anyways, so gonna go do podcast recording, Coffee Lovers Radio. Like I said, I'll link to the older episode below where we talk about coffee tasting cups, and then before too long you'll see the new one up. My question to you, since I'm starting to do this, have you ever had coffee in this manner with cups that are designed to accentuate different tastes and aromas? Have you ever done that? And what do you think about that if you haven't? Just comment below. I think it'll be fun to see what people's perspectives are. And oh, one more thing. I'm going to jump back to this really quick because I just noticed. Okay, here we go. This is what I was looking for before. So that cup design is supposed to accentuate these tastes and aromas. That's supposed to be for the fruity berry, floral, jasmine, cocoa. So that gives you kind of a loose idea. The idea being that coffees which have this kind of focus should go in this kind of cup. And I believe they have a guide that is like origin based, so which origins go in which cups kind of thing. Probably roast styles too. I haven't opened this up to see what it says yet, but looking forward to trying it out. I will almost certainly have a video on this as well in the future. Okay, so yeah, comment below. What do you think about customized cups for coffee tasting? How does that strike your fancy? And thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.